All right, we're going to get on to Jahmyr Gibbs. This is the first guy. I mean, these rookies, these guys that come in that I just don't know much about. This is when I'm just kind of going to try to soak up what you've got to say. I'm not even going to bother reading the headline options because I don't know enough about the guy to get as fired up. So you got to sell me on this guy. I mean, you're asking, could he outscore Bijan Robinson, who's another guy I don't know a ton about, but who I'm seeing a lot of people take as a first rounder. And also, like, what's his ceiling? Obviously, not Nick Chubb's ceiling, right? I mean, not RB1, but what do you think his ceiling is? Talk to me about Jahmyr Gibbs.
It's crazy. I knew I liked Jahmyr Gibbs, the player. I thought he was a huge talent coming in this league, but I didn't realize I was going to love him as much as I did in fantasy. That's why we call it projections that pop. I looked after projecting it all out. He came out as the PPR running back 6 and half PPR running back 11 in my rankings. I was stunned, and I looked and tried to figure out how did this happen because I didn't even think I was projecting him all that crazy. Collectively last year, Detroit's running backs ranked second among all teams in expected fantasy points per game, 28.3 as a backfield. That's in no small part due to the fact that they rushed for 2,000 yards and 23 touchdowns on the ground, with Jamal Williams leading the way with 17 of those, leading the entire NFL. I still have Montgomery scoring 14 touchdowns on the ground, with Gibbs only getting 4 rushing touchdowns, and yet he's still, like I said, running back 6, running back 11. So again, how? And it comes down to that receiving role. And I already loved him as a receiver, but lately we've getting some quotes that just have me juicing it up. The GM saying, we didn't acquire a running back in the first round. We acquired an elite offensive weapon that will keep everything explosive. He's special, like Marshall Faulk and Christian McCaffrey. He's a guy that can just go into the slot and threat challenge your defense in so many different ways. Marshall Faulk, Christian McCaffrey, pretty two damn good talents. And if you've seen the clips of after they drafted him, they were banging the table, flipping the table. It looked like they just won the lottery when they had landed Jahmyr Gibbs. They clearly didn't have a dire need at running back, and they still took him at 12. That tells you everything you need to know about how much they love the player, and then you get those type of comparisons. Whew. Swift had 46, 62, and 48 receptions over his 3 years. Not bad. Solid role right there. Tim Twentyman, and I like Swift, very solid receiver, probably a top 10 receiving back in the NFL. Tim Twentyman came out and said, this is easily, based on the spring work I saw, the best receiving back I've seen in a Lions uniform in 15 years of covering this team. So also pretty damn high praise. And then you mix in the fact that Dan Campbell got his coaching roots in New Orleans there, was right there when they drafted Alvin Kamara, who consistently topped 100-plus targets there. So I ended up lobbying 98 targets to Jahmyr Gibbs, 16% target share, which might seem lofty, but then you look at, they got Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they do have Jameson Williams, but he's out the first 6 weeks of the season. And other than them, Josh Reynolds and Marvin Jones and maybe the Sam Laporta, exciting rookie tight end, but I really could see Jahmyr Gibbs being that number 2 target earner based on the way they're talking about him, based on the way they want to line him up. And then you just mix in that upside. If something ever did happen to Montgomery, he is a very capable runner. He's strong. He's powerful. We saw it all at Alabama. I love this kid. So I project him for 191 carries, 936 yards on the ground with just 4 touchdowns. But the big thing being 74 catches on 98 targets, 607 yards, and 5 touchdowns through the air, making him, again, my running back 6 in PPR and my running back 11 in half.
All right, you piqued my interest. I'm definitely, gave me a lot to think about there. Best receiving running back in a Lions uniform in 15 years. That's not nothing. Also, great name, Tim Twentyman.
Yeah, awesome beat writer name, Tim Twentyman.
Love that. Love that for him.
What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.